Welcome to the Impact Compass podcast, where I'm joined by Paula from Coralville Care, where we're uncovering stories of impact. So thanks so much for joining me today, Paula.
Thanks for having me, Greg.
So I just want to start by uncovering a little bit about your business, and I'm going to start with the normal marketing question is what do you do?
What do I do? We provide service to people in our local area, predominantly to remain living, I won't say independently, in their own home, but to be able to remain living in their own home, as opposed to the next step of going into a supported independent living environment. So we go into their homes morning, afternoon, help them get into bed, out of bed, meal preparation, all those sort of things that help them, personal care, to remain living in their own home. We do some community access work as well. That's predominantly what we do.
I've noticed you guys have a very strong presence in the Port Macquarie community and really getting people out into those communities as well.
Yeah, and that's something that my husband John and myself are very passionate about, always have been, is getting in and helping the community. We've been active volunteers of the Fire Brigade, my husband was, and I've been an active member of the Surf Club for a long time, Autism Dippers, clean up after floods, those sort of things. We're very community driven, like we're very much about giving back to our community. I was born and bred in the local area there, so I've got quite a connection to the area and to the people.
It's always great to see companies giving back. So what is it that drew you to actually starting any NDIS business or disability business and actually being drawn to the sector?
I think it was, we both come from, John's a social worker, I worked in community services, in housing, so we've both got that but we really like to help people. And I think there was just little things that I just start as an independent, just doing, I had a few businesses, COVID sort of changed things, and then we did sort of take a forward direction, focus on the NDIS business, but it was just seeing what was happening out in the field and just thinking that I could do better, like seeing a lot of like support workers on their phones, support workers not engaging, that sort of thing. And coming also from working for the government, where I had been bullied and management not doing anything, I also saw a lot of really good support workers out there working for larger organisations that were not, I don't think, getting treated the way they deserved to be given the work that they were doing. So I thought I could do better there too. Like, I really wanted to create a place where people, we've got a no bullshit, no bullying policy, and we're very straight with that.
It's such a common thing to see, I guess, people want to be able to do better, start in the disability sector and be able to see those things and want to do better, and I think especially if you can have that connection with your local community, it has that extra, that momentum between.
And I think with us both, John worked for 25 years in the federal government for Centrelink, and I worked for housing, and I think coming from wanting to do better and wanting to help more, but having such constraints working for government organisations and government organisations, if you've ever worked for one, that it's not just the red tape, but it's just the inconsistencies, it's the systems that don't work, it's the nothing connects. And I just, in my last role, which was with community housing, when I just actually walked out and said, I can't work for you anymore because I can't align my values with how you run your organisation. And I sort of say, I probably shouldn't have mentioned their name, but if I sort of model my business, which I think is run very well, on pretty much the opposite to what that organisation did when I worked for them. And how they treated people compared to how I treat people. Like, we treat people like people.
I mean, that's growth, learning from our mistakes.
So, absolutely.
And we're here at Level Up Summit, Paul Bryan's Level Up Summit, and we're kind of promoting Impact Compass, and we're really big on growth. So can you unpack a little bit about your growth in the disability sector, and I guess, did things go to plan when you decided, okay, I want to grow a disability business?
Well, I didn't have a plan as such. I suppose I didn't plan to grow this big, but so when I decided to grow a team, because I thought I could do better, because I was doing good at work with my couple of participants, I'm very coachable, so I sought out a coach. I found Tanya and Paul's podcast, which it's just their 3rd anniversary today, so I literally must have stumbled across them as soon as I started, because I've been working with Paul, I reckon, for 3 years. So I found that, and I'm like, I need to be coached by these people. So I've worked with them ever since. So Paul, I couldn't have done anything, I think, without Paul. Like just the direction of what's next, and it up to a certain point, it all. I won't say it came easy. I've had businesses before. Many failed, as most entrepreneurs have, but it's just now that it's sort of grown. So it's probably in the last 3 years since I started working with Paul, it's doubled, and then it's doubled again, and some. And I remember telling Paul a goal that I wanted to get to, which was half of what we're at now, and he said, I can tell you now, most people that say that's all they want to get, what they want to get to, usually go ahead and do more. And it's because I didn't particularly want to grow more, but it's not that I can't say no, but we've got an amazing team. We've got such an engaged team. They don't leave because of the environment, the culture we've created. So there's continuity of care for the participants. Everyone wants to sort of stay there. We really invest in them. So I feel like now it's the beast has taken on a life of its own, and I think Paul says something like this, like who am I to say I don't want to keep working this hard because of this amazing work that we're doing. I think that the people of the Port Macquarie area and the disability community deserve us to keep doing what we're doing.
I think it's not a beast though, as far as, because you decided I want to do this the right way, I want to scale, I want to grow slowly and incrementally, people saw that you're creating positive results and you're focused on outcomes and you're basically doing this the right way, as we like to say, in the sector, and then you have a good fundamental to be able to scale.
And that's what we've learnt, like through Paul, was everything along the way is you've got to get your systems in place. Like I said to you before, I'm not going to run any ads. I don't want any more particularly. We get referrals, and we do certainly take them on by word of mouth, but we need to have everything has to be working smoothly operationally. So our management team has grown from when it was just me and my daughter Tegan as the team leader, to now I've got an operations lead and another lady on the admin team. So that's hard in itself, working out, well, who's going to do what and who's going to answer this message, and just that things that you would never think of. The day-to-day stuff and that's where we're at now, sort of nutting out, well, who's doing what. And
especially if you can grow at a steady pace, then you have time to work on these new obstacles or these new things that you've never heard of before, that you didn't. It's the unknown unknowns. Just when you start a business and you're wanting to grow, you start as an independent or whatever it is, there's so many unknowns that you don't know yet. And
you don't know what you don't know. And we want to be proactive, not reactive, because if you're reactive, there's a certain lot of panic, and we do say we're always putting out fires, but I feel like they're much more controlled from where I'm sort of extinguishing them from. That's not ever any cause of panic.
You're putting out fires, but you've got
I've got a huge network
whole fire
too.
brigade there ready to go.
So
it's a burn off more than that.
And this network that we've got through the profitable provider and you guys and these events, it just takes the heavy loading off, like it does. It takes a village to raise a family. It takes a village to grow a business, especially, like most people don't know, NDIS gets a lot of bad press, but the business model for NDIS is built on a 2% profit margin. And anyone in business will tell you, like, I would challenge you, I think Tanya just said she did some research into this, and the only other business that runs close to that, and that's 4% profit margin, is hospitality, like cafes and things. So it's tight, and that's why you've got to run a tight ship. You've got to have your systems in place. You've got to know what you're doing.
And I'm going to push back on that, because the NDIS says it's a 2% margin. And if you do it the way that they kind of, they're not growth experts, they're not professionals. If you look at like some of the people that Paul's helped and myself have helped, the profit margin is actually closer to 10%
we're
to
sitting,
20%.
We're sitting up at about 8 to 10% now, which Paul's happy with. And now it's really about looking at our systems and looking at our rostering. Like that's your biggest, not leakage, but our biggest expense. Like our wages, our staff, like our wages and our superannuation, our portable long service leave, our payroll tax, our work cover. God, when you say it all like that, that's 90%.
It all adds up,
of what we get in.
It seems like a lot, and yes, it is. But if you can get the right systems in place, the right people like Paul and whatnot to be able to do that, it all just flows.
Yes,
it
absolutely.
It just flows into one. So, what's next? As far as growth, what's next?
Well, that's a good question. What's next with the NDIS at the moment?
Yeah.
what I'm thinking may happen is the industry is going to have a bit of a mix-up. There's going to be a lot of providers that don't want to go through the registration process. So I feel like I think we've positioned ourselves, we've set our systems up to be capable to absorb some of those participants that may find themselves without supports or support workers that have been doing great work independently but don't have the business. It's not easy to become registered and expensive to do that. So I feel like that's where my passion will be next, is sort of helping grow that way.
Well, that's the thing with profit, you know.
Yeah.
You can have some kind of a profit. You can put it back into these businesses.
Yes, exactly.
Back into the people and the participants and the support.
Yeah.
To create high quality support.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So, if we were to look at, I guess, your growth as a whole and solving problems. So, what do you feel like something that's kind of drained your problem or slowed your growth along the way? Has there been anything that's triggered the slow growth or something that's drained your energy the most?
Well, I mean, lots of things have, but because I'm so coachable, I go straight to people. Other than wages, consultants are my next biggest expense. Like, I pay people that know. I've got certain skill sets in building the business. I'm out of my level now, as far as, because the bigger you grow, the bigger your problems get, especially when we're talking about legislation and litigation and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So
it's out of our wheelhouse.
Yeah.
You're better off to look
exactly.
at Tanya or Tanya Gomez.
That's why I just got you to I built my own way. I did everything from the first to. We've only just really brought on extra staff to help me. So for the first 3 or 4 years, like, I built the website, I ran the ads, I did the marketing, I did the support, the plans, like everything. And so it's hard work, but you've got to do that because the profit margins are so small until you can get a bit of momentum, and then you can recognise, right, I need to spend a little bit of money because where I see what I want to ultimately be is out of day-to-day operations altogether. I want to do business development because I love networking, I love meeting with people, and I do quite enjoy the marketing side of things. So that's sort of where I want to focus my energies on.
Yeah, amazing. So at what stage did you feel, or was there anything that triggered that you felt like you need some kind of support or coaching or consulting before you found Paul or that kind of network?
Not because I've been, like, prior to this I was in social media management, and that was purely, like, I worked for the government privatised. I knew I had to get out of where I was, had a passion for social media, so I went to did some study at Social Media College, and so I've always, and I had a business coach, and I always knew that I needed coaches. Like, everyone you need a coach I'm a swimmer, you need a coach to swim, you need a coach to do business.
Yep.
There's a coach. Hey, coach.
Hey, coach. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I know that's going to provide a heap of value to our listeners. And if you like the content and you like the podcast, please like, comment, subscribe. And if you are serious about growth, please go over and check out impactcompass.com.au. You'll be blown away. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Greg.